Prey, or Predator 2022, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, I said I had no interest in seeing the movie, and that stood. And I refused to see the movie until YouTube recommended Chris's review. And I watched Chris's review, and he enjoyed it to the point of watching it twice. And I thought, interesting. And the comments were all very, very favourable. And then I saw James's review, and he had a smiley face on his thumbnail, and I thought, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. Let's give it a watch. Okay, too long didn't read version straight off the bat. It's not the perfect movie everybody thought it is. It's not the dumpster fire I thought it was going to be, so I will admit that. Entertainment value, yes. Entertaining. Okay, now there are some things wrong with it. There's a whole heap wrong with it, and I'll cover that in a minute. In terms of how do I rank them on the Predator movies, I'm going to ignore the Alien vs. Predator series. So Predator 1, number 1. Predators, I put at number 2. I put Prey as number 3. Predator number 2 as number 4. And The Predator, last. That was an abomination. Okay. Now, also, before we carry on, I would actually like to see this developed into a time-travelling series, somewhat like Predator Dark Ages, the fan film, if you haven't seen that, link down below. So we could have a Predator appear in the Middle Ages. Maybe we could have one appear fighting the Romans or fighting Spartans or Egyptians. We could have them somewhere maybe in World War II, World War I even, maybe somewhere in Africa, feudal Japan. All of these potential places that we could have a Predator appear throughout history, fighting in Russia somewhere, fighting Cossacks in Russia, or all these places would best be a really interesting series. Like you could do a whole series of movies like this. And I think it would be really interesting if the Predator didn't lose all the time. Otherwise, you'd just be like, yeah, whatever. He'll kill a few people, then he'll get taken out. But what if? What if he didn't? What if you had him set in like a Spartan time and he just took out a whole bunch of people and then left, and that was the end of the movie? And then that same Predator appeared later on in Roman times and he took out a bunch of people, and then that same Predator appeared later on in medieval times, and maybe then he got defeated, or maybe he took out some more, or maybe there was two of them and one of them got defeated. That'd be an interesting thing. But anyway, let's talk about this movie. Okay, so what my fear about the woke piece of shit stuff was patriarchy, women are being repressed, I'm a strong independent woman, all that sort of stuff. So we did have that a little bit. And look, for the first half hour of the movie, 28 minutes, it started off really early on when the brother said to her, "Oh, you really think you're ready?" That's a put down. That's a put down. Then later on, her mother says, "Why do you want to hunt?" And she says, "Because you all think I can't." Oh. Look, you're in a small Indian tribe. You either can hunt or can't hunt. There's no secrets. There's no "you all think I can't." That means that no one's ever seen you hunting. Like, it's just so stupid. They could have had other lines there. Then when she catches up to her brother, who invited you? We're not going to be out here long enough to need someone to cook. Oh, then the brother defends her by saying, "Oh, but she's a good tracker." You know what? That small little piece of expedition, she's a good tracker. No. In movie making, it's show, don't tell. Look how we learned about the Predator. The Predator watched the snake, watched the mouse, and then took out the snake. So we've learnt Predator's got reflexes quicker than a snake. Watch the wolf, watch the rabbit, chase down the wolf. So we've learnt quicker than a wolf. That's what we've learnt. And we've also learnt that he can distinguish between the thing that's not really anything and not doing anything, and the thing that's the dominant one. And the submissive one, the thing that's no threat and no point, he doesn't do anything. We also learn he kills the bear. So he's quicker than a snake, faster than a wolf, stronger than a bear. That's what we've learned. Show, don't tell. Oh, but she knows herbs. She can track. What do you mean? We already knew that she knew herbs. Everyone in the village would know that she knows herbs. That's what they do. We already established that with a kind of show, don't tell. We didn't need to have him say it. And she can track. They're in a small village. Everyone would know where she can track. They'd all know it. This wouldn't be the first time they're finding out whether she can track. Then, of course, we have to be saying that the guys that insulted her are just total doofuses because they're looking at the sign on the ground and she says it's a lion and they're going, no, it's a wolf. And then the brother has to say, no, well, look, see the crushed bones? That means that... What? These guys have been hunting their whole life and they can't tell the difference? Bullshit. Anyway, so later on, she then gets told, go back to camp where you belong. So there's another put down. Then the mother says, if your brother needed you, he wouldn't have brought you back. There's another put down. The brother said, I hunt alone because you can't. In other words, you're too worthless and weak. You can't hunt alone. And we didn't do it. I did it. You tried. You failed. You couldn't bring it home. There's another put down. All within a half hour. She's been put down 7 times in a half hour by the big bag patriarchy and her mother, telling her that she's worthless and weak and no good. And of course, bring it home. That's a modern day idiom that just felt really out of place. So we've got that big, bad, horrible repression of the strong, independent woman. We've done that. We've filled that agenda. Okay. So now what else do we know? Now, someone said she's not a Mary Sue, and in that regard, we would expect that she knows how to use the axe, and we did see her training with the string, so we know she developed the skill. We already knew, and see, that was show, don't tell. They showed us her learning the skill. And she knew the herbs, and we saw some of that in evidence when she gave the herbs to the guy that got attacked by the lion. She knew herbs, so that's good. A little bit of show, don't tell. And if we didn't know what was going on, she explained it a little bit. So that was a little bit of good stuff. Okay. Now, it did fit movie formula, and that is something happens around the half-hour mark that's going to play out later on. But anyway, we'll talk about that. I won't talk about that. Watch the movie and you'll see. Now, but someone said she's not a Mary Sue, and I said, no, she's not, but she's protected by the best plot armor going. Now, here's what I mean by that. When the bear first tries to get her, she's toast, except the dog distracts the bear. The dog saves her. Number 1 save. She is saved from death by the bear by the dog. Then she is saved from death by the bear by the predator. Okay, so that's 2 saves. Then when the tribe comes to find her, because in her hubris she's decided to go out wandering, now the tribe has to go and find her. She has to have known they're going to do that, meaning she's going to put them in danger as well, which of course she does, and they die. But while the predator's distracted with them, she runs. The last tribe's guy is between her and the predator. 3 times. The predator was going for her, people got in the way, she's saved. 4th time, she gets her foot trapped in a trap, and of course the predator's like, you're helpless, there's no sport in taking you out, I'm going to leave you. So 4 plot elements where she was saved. Then the predator went totally deaf in the Frenchman's camp and didn't hear a horse coming. Anyway, apart from that, the brother was holding his own and actually looked to be doing pretty fucking good against his predator until the predator went invisible. Of course, then things change. Now, the predator's coming after her in the camp, and the brother stabs the predator in the leg. She gets away. So 5 times she's been saved in this movie now. Now we come to the fight with the predator. The predator's got the spear out. Oh, of course the predator's chopped his own arm off, but the predator's got the spear out. He's going to spear her, but the dog distracts him. He takes forever to do his spearing, and the dog distracts him and the spear misses. 6 times she's been saved now. Then later on, after the predator chops his own arm off, the dog picks up her axe. because the predator would have discarded the axe. Of course, the predator was deaf there as well because she ran across the top of the tree. He didn't hear her running across the tree branch because she was like a ninja, because you don't hear ninjas running. And when she jumped up and made all that noise, he didn't hear that either. He was just totally deaf. I don't know about you. If you've ever been in the middle of the bush, you hear every tiny little sound. But anyway, whatever. The dog has the axe, and she yells out something to the dog, and she goes running, and the predator looks at the dog. So the dog's distracted the predator again, which enabled her to get the axe and chop his leg and get behind him. So saved by the dog. Now, before I go on to what happened then, when the predator had her, slammed her into the ground. And instead of just activating the shield and ending it right there and then, picked her up and slammed her over there. And what's over there? Some convenient rocks that just have a gap enough that she can slide back into and put her head in, so when he activates the shield, it doesn't chop her head off. That was lucky. That's called plot armor. Then when she's on his head and the predator throws her off, she lands just on the other side of the mud hole. That was lucky. Pulls the predator into the mud hole. Then, when the predator comes out of the mud hole, he's standing there in the mud. Now, this is not a small mud hole. Remember, he fell, his whole body fell in the mud hole. It's a big mud hole. But when he stood up, he happened to stand exactly in line where the laser was coming. 5 inches that way, laser's behind him. 5 inches this way, laser's in front of him. Her plan would not have worked. If he was a couple of inches too low in the mud, lasers above his head. Plan doesn't work. Stupid plan that required all of this convoluted plot armor to make it work. And of course, he'd already chopped his own arm off. Decides, instead of bludgeoning you now with a melee weapon like I did everybody else, I'm going to use my little electronic arrows, which I know are going to miss because they missed when I tried to shoot your brother without my helmet on. Stupid predator. So smart. But all during this fight with her, his snake-like reflexes just left him. Just gone. Totally gone. Watches the arrow goes around, sees his helmet, looks at it, cocks his head like a dog, and even grunts like, huh? Oh. The grunt, the tilt, the head tilt and the grunt, that just did it to me. That just made a mockery out of the whole predator. He's smart, he's intelligent, he's got all this stuff, but now he's just a big, dumb doofus. And blows his own head off, up, shoots himself in the head. That is plot armor. She doesn't need to be Mary Sue when she's got plot armor. 7 times things stepped in to save her. And then other plot elements like this enabled the predator to basically chop his own arm off and kill himself. So there we go. Was it entertaining? Yeah, it was entertaining. Half hour of patriarchy bullshit, patriarchy bad, girls getting put down, harassed, just the bad dialogue in that, it just wasn't needed. Didn't really see her grow as a character throughout any of this. Her brother's dead, everybody's dead, everyone that went hunting, and all she can do is throw her head down. She's not upset by anything. She's just like the exposition with the Frenchman and his chopped off leg. I mean, even there's a bit of plot armor right there, right? What if the alien, the predator, came from the side where she was standing? Then she wouldn't have been close enough to shoot it in the head and take its helmet. What if the predator came 1 minute earlier, or even 30 seconds earlier, before she'd taken the flour to make her blood cold so the predator couldn't see the heat signature? She would have been stuffed. That is called plot armor. That's called plot armor. Anyway, that's all I've got for this review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.